Have you ever felt like you're screaming into an empty room, begging God to hear you, but all you get back is a deafening, agonizing silence? You look around and watch everyone else receiving the exact blessing you've been crying out for. You scroll through social media and see the engagement announcements, the ultrasound pictures, the new job celebrations, and the testimonies of miraculous healings. Their lives are moving forward in beautiful, vibrant color, while you feel stuck in a gray, sterile waiting room that God seemingly forgot you were even in. You watch the clock tick. You see other people's names get called. You watch them walk through the doors of their answered prayers, and yet you remain seated, waiting, wondering, aching. It's exhausting, isn't it? The mental and spiritual fatigue of hoping for something that never seems to arrive can drain the very life out of you. If you're in a season right now where your prayers feel completely ignored, where the heavens feel like brass and your faith is hanging by a frayed thread, I want you to stop whatever you're doing and listen to this. Lean in closely, because you aren't alone, you aren't forgotten, and God isn't finished with your story yet. I remember vividly when I hit my absolute breaking point with unanswered prayer. It wasn't a sudden snap. It was a slow, agonizing erosion of my hope. A few years ago, I was navigating a season of intense, unrelenting waiting. I'd been praying for a specific breakthrough in my family for years. I didn't just pray casually. I treated it like a battle. I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. The entire good Christian checklist. I fasted until my body shook. I prayed the scriptures out loud over my home. I never missed a Sunday at church. I sowed seeds of faith, giving financially even when it hurt, trusting God for a harvest. I served, I worshiped, I believed, but nothing changed. In fact, things actually seemed to get remarkably worse. It felt like a cruel joke. I would sit in church on Sunday mornings, surrounded by people lifting their hands in praise, testifying about the goodness of God, and I would feel completely isolated. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., the house completely silent, with hot tears streaming down my face. I would whisper into the dark, asking God what I had done wrong. Was my faith just not strong enough? Did I not use the right words? Did I have some hidden, unconfessed sin that was actively blocking my blessing? The enemy loves to torment us in the waiting room, whispering that God's silence is proof of his rejection. Slowly, I started to pull away from God. I stopped reading my Bible because every time I opened its pages, I just felt a massive wave of disappointment. The promises of God felt like salt being rubbed into an open wound. It's a terrifying, disorienting place to be when the very source of your hope starts to feel like the source of your heartbreak. I remember sitting on the cold hardwood floor of my bedroom, surrounded by crumpled tissues, my chest heaving with exhaustion, and finally just admitting the ugly truth out loud into the empty room. God, I feel like you don't care about me anymore. I feel like you've forgotten me. Have you ever been there? Have you ever felt that deeply, painfully overlooked by the creator of the universe? Have you ever felt like a mere afterthought to the divine? That was exactly where I was when I stumbled upon the story of Hannah in the book of 1 Samuel. I had heard it 100 times in Sunday school, but on this particular day, it completely shattered my perspective on what God is actually doing when he seems so incredibly silent. The first thing we have to deeply understand about unanswered prayer is that delay is not denial, and God's silence is never, ever a sign of his absence. In 1 Samuel chapter 1, we meet a woman named Hannah. She was barren, desperately wanting a child, in a culture where a woman's entire worth and security were tied to her ability to produce an heir. To make matters worse, she lived in the same household as her husband's other wife, Peninnah. Peninnah had many children, and cruelly provoked Hannah year after year. Imagine the daily torment. Imagine sitting at the dinner table every single night, watching Peninnah feed her children, listening to the laughter of babies that aren't yours, and enduring the subtle and not-so-subtle jabs from a rival who seems to have easily acquired the one thing you are begging God for. First, Samuel 1-6 says, because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. Let that phrase sink in for a moment. Read it again. The Lord had closed her womb. That is a really tough pill to swallow, isn't it? It challenges our neat, comfortable theology. We want to blame the devil for every delay. We want to blame our own lack of faith. But what do you do when it is the Lord who has closed the door? What do you do when the very obstacle you are praying against is something God has sovereignly allowed in your life for a specific purpose? Hannah was weeping constantly. She was starving herself, unable to eat through the thick lump of grief in her throat. She poured her soul out in absolute bitterness. She probably thought God was punishing her. She undoubtedly felt ignored, overlooked, and unloved. But we have the privilege of reading the end of the story, and we know that God was doing something far more profound than Hannah could have ever comprehended in her pain. Think about this like a master gardener tending to a vineyard. If you have no knowledge of agriculture and you see a gardener aggressively pruning a vine, taking sharp shears, and violently cutting away branches, it looks incredibly destructive from the outside. The vine looks bare, stripped, bleeding sap, and damaged. If the vine had feelings, it would cry out, "Why are you hurting me? Why are you holding me back?" Look at the other vines. They are full of leaves. But the gardener isn't destroying the vine. He is preparing it. He knows that if he lets the vine grow wild, it might produce fruit quickly, but the branches will be too weak. When the fruit grows heavy, the branches will snap and the harvest will be ruined. The pruning is painful, yes, but it is entirely purposeful. The gardener cuts the vine back, so the root system is forced to grow deeper into the soil. He is preparing the vine to hold a much heavier, much more valuable harvest. Hannah was in the pruning stage. God wasn't ignoring her. He was preparing her. He was stretching her. Faith, hollowing out a massive space inside her spirit that could hold the weight of the monumental blessing he was about to give her. You see, Hannah wasn't just going to give birth to any child. She wasn't just asking for a baby to compete with Peninnah. God was aligning her desperate desire with his divine destiny. She was going to give birth to Samuel, one of the greatest prophets in Israel's history. Samuel would be the man who would hear the voice of God when the word of the Lord was rare. Samuel would be the one to anoint King David. Samuel was a nation shifter. When God is making you wait, he is often preparing you for a blessing that is far heavier and more significant than the one you are actually asking for. Hannah was asking for a baby. God was preparing to give her a prophet. Hannah was looking for personal vindication. God was looking for a vessel to shift the trajectory of an entire nation. If God had answered Hannah's prayer in year 1, she might have just coddled the child and kept him for herself. But the years of waiting, the years of tears, and the years of being provoked pushed Hannah to a place of ultimate surrender. In her desperation, she went to the temple and prayed a prayer of total relinquishment. She said, "Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life." The waiting produced a consecration in Hannah that instant gratification never could have. God held back the blessing until Hannah's heart was perfectly aligned with his kingdom purposes. Your waiting room is not a punishment. It is a preparation room. The silence of God is not the apathy of God. It is the deep, sovereign concentration of a master craftsman who is building something in your life that is meant to last. The enemy wants you to look at the paninas in your life, the people who seem to be getting blessed easily and quickly, and he wants you to feel bitter. But you have to understand that what God is birthing through you requires a different timeline. You cannot compare your behind-the-scenes preparation with someone else's highlight reel. A mushroom grows in a few hours, but an oak tree takes decades. God is growing an oak tree in your life. So if you are sitting on the cold floor of your bedroom right now, surrounded by the tissues of your own tears, feeling like giving up, I want to encourage you to dry your eyes and lift your head. Pick your Bible back up. Do not let the delay destroy your devotion. The God who remembered Hannah is the exact same God who is watching over your life right now. He sees the tears. He hears the prayers whispered in the dark. He knows the pain of the provocation. But he also sees the harvest that is coming. Trust the gardener. The pruning is painful, the winter is long, and the silence is heavy. But the roots are going deeper. Your character is being forged. Your faith is being purified in the fire. When the season is right, when the preparation is complete, God will open the door. And when he does, the blessing will be so profound, so weighty, and so undeniable that you will look back at the waiting room and thank God that he didn't answer your prayer prematurely. Hold on just a little longer. God is not finished with your story yet.